USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content on info@millenniumnews24.com. Download the Millennium News 24 app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Stay tuned with Millennium TV and Millennium News 24 for the latest updates.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. What you say, New York City? This is your host, Jineea Butler, for the New American Perspective. And I am here today on a somber day in New York. Or maybe this is not a somber day in New York. We're going to talk about it today. And there goes my co-host. You haven't seen him in a little while. Mr. A. Butler on the G Check.
There's Mr. G Check, the one and only back in the game entertainment. It's going down. We back in town.
Okay, KK. Well, New York City has chosen its next mayor, and it is cousin.
You know who it is, the one and only Indian finest.
Zohran Mamdani has won the New York City mayor's election. Congratulations to Zohran. Congratulations to all that voted in New York City. Now, I have to say that there's about 8 million people in New York. Mm-hmm. Only 2 million people got out. Little less than 2 million people got out the vote. So does that mean that the whole city wanted Zohran to win? Obviously not. Now, we've got a lot to talk about here because New York City is about to change as we know it. Now, if you've been tuned into us, you know AB here, okay, he has supported Zohran from the very beginning, right? So he said that he was with the affordability and everything that he was talking about. How do you feel now, cousin, on that whole process?
Well, this is how I feel right now, cuz. Ain't nothing happening because he just got in the door. So what he got to really do, he got to go in there to the new house that he gonna be in and clean it up and make sure you do what you said you're gonna do. Like I said, and I don't bite my tongue. You definitely got to come to a point to hold these people responsible for what they say. If they don't do it, me personally, I really think they should lock them up for lying to the people.
Okay, now hold that point because I'm going to give you reasons why he can't do what he said that he was going to do. Now, he's going to be sworn in January 26th. January 1st, 2026. And now the people of New York today, he had a press conference and he started bringing in his team. And so he's active. I like his energy. He's young energy. He's the type of energy that a businesswoman wants on their team when they're young. Now, do I want them to run and be the mayor of New York? I don't know. I don't want to say that the young person can't do it, but he lied in a lot of ways, and I'm going to talk to you about. So the 34-year-old Muslim Democrat socialist will be sworn in as New York City mayor. We cannot stop that. Now, Mayor Adams had some choice exit words for New York. He talked about how Zohran can't do certain stuff, right? But he also said, I left you, New York, with a good city, and don't F it up. And he said the F word. I'm not going to say the F word, but Mayor Adams said the F word, so he's getting cocky out there. Now, Curtis Sewa said that he was offered $10 million to drop out the race, and he didn't drop out the race. So how much money do you think that Mayor Adams got to drop out the race, cousin?
He probably got a suitcase.
Right. Somebody dropped something off for him because he was totally New York, and now he's unbuttoned and he's free. Congratulations to you, Mayor Adams, for whatever you came out with. I know you came out on top. Okay. So now, this is the ultimate G check that Zohran has beat the old guard in New York, and also won against, in the old guard was that Cuomo. Excuse me, for your younger people, Cuomo's father is a mainstay, was a great political guy in New York, and he behind, and Chris was on the news. And so that whole big thing is now gone. Now, I believe that Governor Cuomo, he was just trying to make up for messing up New York as the governor, because he was, a lot of people couldn't get past Governor Cuomo having a sexual assault case. And he also was blamed for killing a lot of elderly people during the COVID by sending sick people into elderly centers, which killed a lot of people in nursing homes and things of that nature. So people obviously couldn't get by it. Now there's a lot of people blaming Curtis Sewa. Curtis Sewa wouldn't drop out the race like Mayor Adams did, and Curtis Sewa ended up getting 7.1% of the mayor's vote. Now, I don't know if that's going to change anything. Cuomo got 41.7 plus the 7% that Curtis had. They would have still, Mamdani still would have beat them. So don't blame
Let me G check this, man. We sit back and add up excuses. We add up excuses, and like you said, it was a billion people in New York City. So 8 billion people.
8 million.
8 million. Okay, let me say that 8 million. So you saying out of 8 million, because that man got 7.1 people voted for him, that stopped Cuomo? No, that ain't. We just keep.
No, what I'm saying is Mamdani had more votes. He got 50% of the 2 million people that voted. Only 2 million people voted yesterday.
But people tired.
Out of the 8 million.
People is tired of the BS, man. You know what I mean? They feel that they bring something fresh in, and it's like, if this is what we really need to target people out here, we need to take a broom and a mop to Congress and the senators and sweep and mop them old people that sit in them seats for the longest and keep making the decisions to keep us down and out. That's what we really need to do. You know what I mean? We got to find people that really, you might not do everything you say you're going to do, but do 95% of what you say you're going to do. How about that? That's a G check.
It's a 100% G check. Now, the other piece is that the Republicans got smacked yesterday across the board, across the country. The Republicans got smacked. And I put on my red today to own that I'm a Republican and we got smacked up yesterday. Now, there's a lot of things that Republicans need to continue to do. And one of the things is respect the Black vote and respect the Black people. And we would come up better, because in New Jersey, you have Jack Citarelli, who lost to Mikey Sherrill by about 10 points. Those 10 points are Black votes that, you know, we have to sit around, and if we want to go help them get the Black votes, they're not going to pay us to do it. They're going to pay their people, but then we'll bring people to the table with broken promises. And there is a huge problem. So you're not wrong, cousin. Now, but our job now is going to be to hold Mamdani to the fire. Okay?
Hold on. It's a G check. We gonna hold him to the fire, but we not holding Donald Trump to the fire. We not. We
talk about Trump every week and holding his feet to the fire. Yes, we are.
Yeah. No, I know we do. Yeah. Go ahead. That's a G check.
That's a G check, 100%. And that's a G check to other folks that are not participating in holding his feet to the fire. Now, New Yorkers can expect, okay, now listen, let's talk about what happens now. What happens January 1st, now that you all think that you're going to get some affordable housing. First of all, he said that he's going to stabilize the rent. Now, that would be wonderful. I love it. Okay, stabilize the rent in New York. It's too high in New York, right? But what happens when you stabilize rent? You stabilize the rent. First of all, he can't stabilize the rent. There's a rent stabilization board that's going to meet in December, and they Adams has control of that board, and they're going to decide whether that happens or not. And I don't think that's going to happen because the rent stabilization board also has the owners of buildings that are going to say, okay, you stabilize the rent. What about home improvements? How do we pay if the prices are skyrocketing and you have stabilized rents? How do we then go with the skyrocketing property taxes and everything that's going up, but the rent is stabilized? How do we then service the people? So we've got to think about that.
This is a G check, right? Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example in my town, Westchester County, Money Earning Mount Vernon, New Shell, Yonkers,
Sure.
White Plains. They got a bunch of brand new buildings in New Rochelle. It's still empty because nobody could afford them. You get where I'm coming from? Then on top of that, New York, y'all putting these new buildings up, making rooms like they jail cells where you can't even put a king size, a queen size bed inside a room. Only thing you could do is get a small bed in one closet. It's no room. You get where I'm coming from? But y'all want to sit here, charge. It ain't just New York. You got Jersey. You got to remember these apartments that we all live in, that, is a one bedroom. Back in the days, it was like what, 300, 500 for one bedroom, two bedrooms, 1,000, 800,000. It's like, come on, bring it back to that where people can live, because at the end of the day, everything go up, but they don't want to pay us where we could do all this. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing, and I fight
that's a G check.
That can be a G check, but I fight against that because you talk about they don't want to pay you. You know how hard that I have worked, cousin, to go up a ladder, right? I started out, my first job, I had $28,000, right? That was my salary. That was my first job. My second job was $36,000 a year, right? My third job,
you can't live off that.
No, but this was, I'm talking about, this started in 1998. My first job out of college, 28,000, 1998. 36,000, 36,000 at Rikers Island. 42,000 at BRC. 55,000. And so here's the problem with our community. Our community works one job and says that you don't pay us enough. And we've got to get to the point where we raise up. Now, the last time that I worked before becoming a full-time business owner, I was making $100,000, but that wasn't in the same job that I started in. Okay. So we have to look at life a little different, where you got to get the experience and go up. Every job requires you to do 2 years. You need 2 years experience in doing that. So go get your 2 years and then go get a better job. Don't stay at the job because you have the job and you've been comfortable. I've seen people doing maintenance jobs for 10 years. You need to become the supervisor. And if you can't become the supervisor on your job, you have to take a risk and go get another job somewhere else. And so I hate the thought that people sit back and say, they're not paying us enough. What are you talking about?
Let me G check this, because you got people out here got 3 or 4 jobs and still. Let me be honest with you, cuz I understand your ladder, but you got people out here got 3 or 4 jobs. They like they say that Jamaica, they got 1,000 jobs and still starving, still can't take care of their family. So you got to remember this. You want us to go get 5 jobs, right?
No.
This is why. No. Hear me out. This is a G check. So we go do all these jobs, and at the end of the day, this is why these little kids out here is running wild. When did you get time to sit down back in the days where Families sat at a table and we all ate together, talked together, and understand that it's no more that, because guess what? We got to be robots to keep trying to keep up to the bills that they keep raising. So at the end of the day, I understand what you're saying, but you got people out here got 4 or 5 jobs still starving. So that's a G check.
Well, we're going to talk about that when we come right back on this break, because I have a good response for that. But we'll be right back here on Millennium News 24 with your new American perspective and your weekly G check. And we are back. We're here with the New American Perspective. I'm your host, Jineea Butler. Took a beat, and then there's my co-host, A.B. Butler, that y'all been talking about, that y'all been missing for
Guess
the
who's
last
back?
few weeks.
Guess who's back?
He is back in the house. And so you were just saying, people have 5, 6 jobs. Now, I got to get real. I got to get real with you and people. Now, if you decided to drop out of high school when you're a kid and then say, well, I'm working 5 jobs to take care of my family. You did that. So we got to go back to the kids, make sure the kids don't drop out of high school. So then, God forbid, that didn't happen, that happened, whatever. You know what I'm saying? We're in a situation now where you can't get the high paying jobs. You still need to take your 2 years. If you're working 5 jobs, that's experience in all those areas of whatever you're working. You still need to pack your resume together, put your situation together. If it's a McDonald's job and you work at McDonald's, Burger King, wherever you're working, you need to put those things together and come up with how I'm going to be the manager. And then after becoming a manager, then you need to become in the back office or whatever. And then you need to be considering how you're going to use your credit to buy you a franchise of McDonald's or whatever. But we can no longer sit back and say, oh, well, I'm working 5, 6 jobs. Well, the reason why you're doing that is because you didn't take the time when you were supposed to. So now they're taking all of your time now. So I'm not saying anything against people who have to do that. But what I'm saying is, don't put that on us.
Now watch this.
We told you to go to school, get an education, so you could do these things in America, and now be mad that America is not loving you back the way that you want with 5 jobs.
Now this is a G check right here. Let me say this.
That was a G check.
No. This is a G check right here, right? Now, everything you said, right? School, this and that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Please tell me this. Please tell me this, right? You got all these robots, ain't do a day in school. You got AI, ain't do a day in school, taking every position. It don't matter. You dropped out of school, you went to high school, you went to college, you did all this. Guess who coming in town? The robots.
It's over. Yes.
So at the end of the day, this is a G check. A robot didn't go to college, didn't go to school, didn't do none of this. Ain't got no paper. But guess what?
It knows everything.
This is a G check. It's taking your job, Miss Jineea Butler.
My job, cousin?
It's taking your job. It's taking your job. They get ready. Hold up. Let me G check this. They get ready robot the Democrats, the Republicans. They're gonna robot the mayor, the president in the world. They're gonna control us. They already. Let me break something down to you, cuz. The AI, the hackers, and everybody's so vicious. They ain't going to school. They ain't got a diploma or nothing. But they sitting there rocking us to sleep. Let me ask you a question, the world. Why every time we go buy a car, We go buy anything, get a credit card, open a bank account. Why we got to keep using the same information over and over and over again? Now, the computer, AI, and everything, they know everything about you from your head to your toes to your eyes to your teeth. So at the end of the day, we shouldn't have to keep putting the same information over and over again. They keep telling us, well, we gonna put a system in. Well, once again, here come the greedy part. Here come the keep snatching, the crumb snatchers, right? It's no different, cuz. The
I
robots,
don't
the
think so.
robots can ready to come and do
The robots are
everything.
the
They
robots are
gonna do
here. I'm
everything that you doing. Now hold on, let me show
no,
you
hold
something.
on. Let me
Hold
let
on,
no
hold
no.
on,
Let
let
me
me
say
finish. This is
something.
a G check, and I'm gonna let you get on here. You see what I got on here? These glasses can take pictures. They can record. You see that light on right there? You know what I mean? I'm recording what we saying. So at the end of the day, all this is going to take over everything. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yes,
that's
I
a
do.
G check. That's a
That's a
G
G
check.
check to certain people who should have been listening again in high school when they told you there's certain jobs that are going to be pushed out. We knew this a long time ago. When I chose my profession of being a psychologist and being a hands-on person, I knew that this wasn't going to be factored out because they are telling us. And so this is why we have to read. This is why we have to pay attention. And this is why we're in the situation that we're in. I understand what you're saying, right? And Zorhan Mamdani understands what you're saying. But again, to my Republican self, I'm a true Republican where I believe that in a capitalist society. Now, let me ask you a question, because do you believe that there should be billionaires?
Me personally,
You
I
personally.
think I think everybody should be a billionaire. Everybody.
Okay, well, your new mayor
They print.
elect.
No, 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 no. It don't matter what
It's
the
not
new mayor
no,
gonna
no, no, it's
say.
not no. This is where we're at. Your
Go
new
ahead.
mayor elect believes that there should be no billionaires. He also
Okay.
believes that there should be no private property. Okay? So what he did was is he played a game on people's illiteracy towards politics, right? And so when he said he got out there, he said, I'm a socialist. So the political people, we know, oh, hell no. They tried this in the Soviet Union, it didn't work. They tried it in Cuba, it didn't work. They tried it in Venezuela, it didn't work. Now we're going to try it in New York City and we're going to see how it works. But the problem here is when you say you're going to rent stabilize these buildings and now crippling the buildings to say, okay, there's no improvements. What's going to happen? Now the rich are leaving out of New York City.
So
Okay.
what? Who cares? Who cares?
Zorman cares
Who
because
cares?
Zorman said that he's going to tax the rich. And so the rich now in New York City, cousin, is you. So now when he taxes you, what are you going to say? Are you going to say, no, you can't tax me anymore because I'm working 5 jobs? You are the rich. You
I don't
are
live.
the ones that he's
I
got to
don't
put the
live in New
taxes
York.
on.
I live in Delaware. So who cares? I'm a
Well,
square for
I'm talking
Delaware.
about the
Mm.
other people that you're
Well,
talking about in New York.
let me G check this, right? New York is dead anyway. Let me be honest with you. New
Please.
York is dead. Ain't nothing really popping in New York no more. You understand? The only part of New York is popping right now is Brooklyn. It's no more. It's no more nightlife. It's no more communication. It's no more. So who cares? Everything is so high. Look at the governor right now with her greedy ass self. Right? She
Mhm.
up there putting robots, the chargers, every time we drive in the city that we've been living here our whole life. And we never got charged to go into a city that we built. So now we getting pimped. Why they not locking them up, but they gonna lock Puff up for the same exact shit that he did?
Just say
Please answer
pimping.
that.
Pimping ain't easy, but it sure is
Exactly.
fun.
So
So let me say this.
the governor they need to lock her up.
Okay, I'm gonna talk about her
Yeah,
in
yeah.
1 second.
Please do.
So Zorhan Mamdani, he has said New York will remain. Now, listen to this, cousin.
I'm
New
listening.
York will remain a city of immigrants.
Yeah.
A city. Are you an immigrant?
Yes, we are. We are.
I'm not an
Every
immigrant.
last
I'm
one
an
of us
Indian.
is.
I don't know.
Every
I'm an
last.
Indian. I'm an American Indian. I don't
Oh,
know where your bloodline comes from, Butler, but we're Indians. We have been
okay,
here. Okay.
but at the end of the day, love. At the end of the day, we all immigrants. It don't matter however you want to say it. Yeah.
Um.
Why you keep darking out?
So yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. So New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant. So hear me, President Trump, when I say this: to get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us. So that was his message to Trump. Okay, so the city of immigrants. Okay, wait a minute. He's an
Get it right.
immigrant. There's a lot of immigrants in New York, but New York was not solely built.
What I'm
There's
saying
a
is
bunch of
what he's
immigrant
saying.
Americans that used to live
What
in
he's
Central
saying.
Park.
Let me G check this. What he basically saying. America was America was American dream for everybody. Don't matter where you came in, whatever. Donald Trump is an immigrant. Is it all right where he got in position, want to boot everybody out? His wife is an immigrant. You know what I mean? She in the White House. Look what he doing. He tearing something down. And I'm gonna say this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wish I was in DC right now. Because if I was in DC, and I know I'm great to put y'all on to something and make sure when y'all do it, just give me a piece of it. I will go find out where they dumping that White House when he crashed and take a piece of it because it's history. You
That's a good.
understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
That's a good. Yeah,
Because
he'll probably sell that now that you said that. He'll
yeah,
probably sell a piece of it now.
yeah. You know, but that's part of history, right?
Good part.
But what I'm saying is people are not thinking like that. They don't think like I think. Even though I had a brain tumor, it's slowly coming, slow, whatever. But at the end of the day, people, we got to open our eyes and got to remember we got to get off. We talk about the Ku Klux Klan. We talk about this person, that person. We got to get to a point and realize people. We all the same. We listen, if I take a knife and cut myself, I'm going to bleed blood. You cut yourself, you're going to bleed blood. Red blood. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, we got to come to a point. This earth is not ours, but we all live on it. And we got to get to a point where we got to respect the earth. God created this. We just plants. So we got to learn to respect what's around us, man. We got to respect one another. It ain't about this is why this is what we really on. This is what politics, religion, and everything else is separating us. It's
So
separating.
okay, yes, and that's what we're
That's a
talking
G
about
chat.
today. So now,
That's a
do you
G
believe
chat.
that's a G check? Now, do you believe in private property? We're back. Don't try to go away from this because this is a G check. Because as we have just elected the first youngest, and guess what? He got the most votes in New York City since 1960. Okay, so shout out to him. They use social media, they use everything, but I'm going to tell you what is going to happen as a result. It's the bigger picture, and we've got to stop being peons in the bigger picture, and that is a G check. So again, private property. He's saying you can't come into New York and buy property because he wants to own it the government should own all property, the city, whatever. So CL, CL, I talked to him. He says, oh, well, I wouldn't mind. He said he didn't mean it like that. And I wouldn't mind paying more for taxes. Okay, so if people in New York are paying 52% of their money to taxes, okay, and then so now it's 50% now. He wants a 2% tax to go up to pay for all the stuff that he's talking about. Now, the billionaires have decided that they're going to pack up and leave, but they're not going to give their money to this man so they can do whatever they want. Huh?
Make New York City like Cleveland, Ohio, a ghost town. Then what? New York is whatever. You know what I mean? They already let me check this. They already played the mind game on us and showed you what they trying to do when COVID-19 hit.
Sure.
Everybody was a skeleton. They was afraid to come out their house. If you look at it, love, just sometime, like I tell people out here, and this is a big G check out here, y'all. Check it out. Sometime go to a club, go to the corner and watch the whole movement. So people, one thing you gotta do is get to a corner and sit back and watch the whole world and see how it's moving. And then when you see how it's moving, you move the same way they move it. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we could preach this all day long, right?
Well, this is what we're going to preach for an hour.
Hold. This is
we
a G
have to go
chat.
to a break.
Okay, go to a break. Go to a break.
Go to a break, and we'll come right back with A.B. Butler's Super G Check. And we are back here with your New American Perspective. I am here with my co-host, A.B. Butler, G-Checking all G-Check day today. Zorhan Mamdani, if you're just tuning in, Zorhan Mamdani has won the mayor-elect in New York City. And Mr. A.B. Butler just got finished making a point about if you can't beat them, join them. That's what I heard you say. But he said, go on the street corner, look at how it's rolling and roll along with the roll. Am I right?
Listen, this is what I'm saying, peeps. They've been doing what they've been doing to us for so long, right? And the people that look like us, we've been still disrespecting the people that look just like us. So we come to a point and know how powerful we are and get off yes man, the butt kissing, everything else. Your eyes will open and we could be a family. But right now we can't be a family because we so caught up on the moment that it ain't about what you going through. It's about what I'm doing. And we got to change that. We got to come to a point and say, enough is enough. You know what I mean? We got to stop fighting one another. We got to stop killing one another. We got to even stop being greedy for one another and turn around and say, how can I help you? Back in the days, you see an old lady walk across and she got a bag in her hand. A real man to go say, let me get that bag, not snatching it, walk across the street and say, oh, this lady, even though I don't know her, it don't matter what color you are. This is my mother right here. We got to learn. We got to G-check the respect.
I got to touch on what happened yesterday, cousin. I got you. I got to make sure that we get in exactly what happened across America yesterday. And you are 100% right. We have to change how we respect one another. But today, it's about these elections. Okay, so
it's a G-check.
Mamdani says that Trump turned up the volume. Okay, so 50 Cent got back with him and posted Rest in peace, New York City. I got 3 words for you. No money coming. And so we've got to think about that in New York City too, that when we have a democratic socialist now challenging the president who doesn't want to see socialism spread across the country. We've already seen how President Trump turns around and has his revenge campaigns, and now for losing New York City, he's going to back New York City up and make sure that this guy either really is really bad at what he does or just is not getting money from the federal government. And New York is a big state that carries a lot of money from the federal government, so we can't ignore this. Okay, so let me just say this is that I think, and you could give me your what you, that I think that the strategy, right? The strategy here is to push Trump, because why would you start off your campaign before you even get into office telling Trump, turn up the volume and hear us very clearly? Because you don't have that kind of power. You're just the mayor in New York City, and everything goes through the White House. And Trump has made that clear. Okay. So I think that he's trying to push Trump so he can go back and say, well, these are the reasons why I can't do what I said I can do. I can't stabilize the rent because President Trump is in my way. I can't make the buses free because President Trump is in my way. So I'm seeing where they're going with this. I can't make the promises. He said that he's going to make childcare free. What? Who's paying for it? Free doesn't mean free. Everything costs something. So who's going to pay for it? So that's the one thing. Then he's going to raise taxes, and he's going to raise the taxes, and he's saying that he's going to tax the rich, but that has to come from Governor Hochul. So Governor Hochul has to say, okay, we could tax the rich, or we could tax whoever. We'll add a certain tax or people that make a certain amount of money. She has to say that. She already said that she wasn't going to do that. Next year, she runs for re-election for her governorship. So that means that she's not doing anything that's going to make people not vote for her for at least until they get back in. So that's 2027. So he's not going to be able to even talk about raising the taxes that he's talking about doing all these programs until 2027. So that's a year in. So now he's got 3 years left. So now you got to hope that either Governor Hochul or the person that replaces her now goes and says, hey, tax the rich, So if you don't put them, so now Governor Hochul, watch out, because they're going to try to run a socialist against you. And that socialist will say, hey, we're going to tax the rich to get you out of there, Governor Hochul. So beware, right? So then, now, cousin, pay attention, because I need your backing on this, okay? Then, so in her pursuit of re-election, she's not going to let him mess with her, right? And of course, they're going to run AOC against Chuck Schumer. Now, most people are okay with AOC running against Chuck Schumer for the Senate in New York, but what they're trying to do is they're trying to spread all over the country and try to make this a theme all over the country, and people are going to fight back. Okay, so now I'm asking you, cousin,
I'm listening.
as they're making these deals and making these things and using, you talking about, oh, we got to come together, same blood, New York City. So now the Democrat Socialists of America, who they were cheering very loudly during Mom Dami's piece, they DSA, that's the Democratic Socialists of America. Okay, they're coming in, and what they want is they want seats across America. So now, are you willing to say, okay, Mom Dami, do your thing? Now, does your go to jail theory hold true with him? If you don't do what you say you're going to do, when we're telling you from the beginning, he can't do it because he needs other people to do what he says he's going to do. But does that hold true even now?
Listen, this is a G check. I don't bite my tongue. If none of them do what they supposed to do, they need to go to jail. I ain't stutter. I'm not a yes man. I'm not afraid to say what I got to say. Yes, all of them need to go to jail. They need to lock every last one of them up if they don't do what they said they supposed to do.
I like that. I mean,
You
I
know where I'm
like
coming
that.
from?
I think that we should push even Jonathan Jackson to put out a bill like that. Not that so much that they go to jail, but maybe they get charges and maybe they get fined or something like that. But
Yeah.
you know,
They
something.
can put Puff in jail. Why they can't go to jail? They put us in jail. Why they can't go to jail?
Okay,
Why
they
they
can
jail?
go to jail. There's a lot
Why
of
they jail
politicians
proof?
that have gone to jail now.
Exactly. So what's stopping them?
Well, in that case, well, let's see. Let's start presenting that to political people and see what they say and see how this goes over. Because I think that is something that should be introduced, and it
Yeah,
should be called the A.B. Butler law,
yeah. The G check law.
the back in the game law, the G check law. I like that
Yeah.
too. So okay, so let's go over to California right quick. You know, there's been a lot happening in California. You know, we've got, Big U, he lost his son, baby Huey, out in California this week, to gang violence. And, rest in peace to Big U's son. Very sorry to hear that kind of stuff is still going on, even with him locked up. So, they thought they locked up the system and they didn't. But Gavin Newsom, he had a special election yesterday, and that special election was for Proposition 50. So they made a proposition to the people of the citizens of the the state of California, and they told them that they wanted redistrict California. Now, if you remember, the Republicans, they redistrict Texas, right? So they proposed to redistrict Texas and take out all of the black seats, and they would lose like 5 Democratic seats in Texas, and they would become Republicans. And so Republicans are trying to keep the House. If you notice, the House and the Senate, the Republicans both have. Now, the Republicans redistrict in Texas. They're trying to get Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett out of there. And now what they're doing is the Democrats came behind them and said, okay, you're doing that in Texas. Gavin Newsom knows enough about it. He's going to redistrict in California. So it passed. So proposition, they're trying to get let me ask you this. They're trying to get the immigrants that are not the illegal immigrants to be able to vote in regular elections. Do you think that should be, cousin?
Why not? The snakes do it.
If you're
So
not a
why not?
citizen, you shouldn't be
Let
able to
me
vote
G
in the
check.
United
Let me
States.
G check this.
Mm-hmm.
It don't matter, cause they gonna do what they want to do. You see what they doing? They
See
trying
what
to make it.
Mm-hmm. Who you talking about?
Who else you think I'm talking about? Why they want to separate the districts? Why? Who did that come from?
It came from both the Republicans and the Democrats. Both of them
Guess
are doing
what? Let me be honest with you. They both put the pants on the same way. They both act the same way. So why we think it's something new? It's something different. It's something new. No, it's not. It's the same people. One just got on a blue outfit. The other one got on a red outfit. It ain't no different in the Crips and the Bloods.
It's not. It's really the same thing.
Exactly.
I
So
don't understand how
what
they
is?
vote red and blue.
Yeah, it's a G check. But why do we feel where you sit here and say, "Cuz, what do you think about this?" At the end of the day, they both devils. It don't matter. However you put it in a pot, it's
So if
gumbo.
they're both devils, then why do all of the black people only vote one way?
We don't believe you don't vote. Which way you voted?
I
Is you
voted. I
black?
voted Republican.
Is you black?
Yeah.
Okay, well there you go. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I'm
You
one.
got to
One
remember.
few that's I'm one of few that's pushing that narrative that we cannot be on the same side. We cannot all be on the same side and think that we're going to get a balanced approach here. The SNAP benefits are supposedly back on. Trump said he's going to pay half of the SNAP benefits. So that is one of the reasons why they lost. Now, at first, I thought the government shut down. I said, they need to stop. These Democrats need to stop this
Why
government
Democrats?
shutdown because they're the ones that are holding it up. The Republicans are voting for the government to be reopened. But what the Democrats want, I think about a few $1 billion. I don't know exactly the number, but they want a few $1 billion of benefit. They want a few $1 billion. They want some more additives to the bill, which the bill already closed. And so the only way that they had power was to shut down the government. Now the government has been shut down for 36 days, which has been the longest in history. Okay, so this is the first time people have lapsed on their benefits. And I say, why beat up the poor people? Why hurt the poor people in a process that has nothing to do with them, just to get them to wake up to vote against it? And so what they did good, because now that the SNAP benefits and the government shutdown is on, the Democrats rallied and got a clean sweep in this election. So at first I thought, even Charlemagne the God said, listen, Democrats, I think you need to hang it up and you need to open the government back up. But they were waiting for this election so they can gain a little steam and a little momentum, because they have absolutely no power in the government. And like I've always said, I believe that absolute power is corruption, and they're corrupting the government by having a full Republican controlled House. I don't trust all of the things that they're doing, because they're going deep in their hearts and trying to get everything done. So I don't trust it. I believe that we need a democratic balance, but I believe that everybody needs to be at work, ready to work, especially if we're paying our tax money in their salaries. Okay. So I look at the extent the Democratic committee will go to trick voters, right? And to lie to voters, they'll do anything. Oh, we're waiting for this. You was waiting for this day. And I'm not mad at it, because it's a big game being played. And, again, back to Mamdani, he won fair and square. Mamdani won fair and square. And I think I just missed a commercial. You didn't tell me, but I think I just missed a commercial. So let's go to a commercial, and we will be right back here on the American Perspective.
That's what happened.
Join me, Jineea Butler, for the New American Perspective every Wednesday at 12 noon for an in-depth look of education, politics, economics, and entertainment from Republican and conservative views. The first of its kind on the Millennium News 24 and the Millennium TV 24 network. We will conceptualize and debate the rights and wrongs of the society, and together we will build the New American Perspective and share it with the rest of the world. You can tune in on all iOS and Android platforms, branded smart TVs, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. If you're around the world, Horizon Satellite. If you're in Europe or Australia, the Sky Network. Tune in to MillenniumNews24.com or MillenniumTV24.com. All social media, Millennium News 24. We're live and have the podcast at the same time. I am a citizen, and this is our perspective.
And we are back here with your last 10 minutes of the New American Perspective, here with my co-host, A.B. Butler. G chucking up a storm today, and we are talking about a political landslide that happened yesterday for the Democrats. Democrats are in position. Now they're positioning. They're feeling good going into the midterm elections next November, and they're hoping to gain some seats. And you see they're redistricting and they're doing a whole bunch of stuff. And people, we've got to pay attention, okay? Redistricting traditionally only happens every 10 years. So you can't redistrict. The reason why people redistrict is because populations grow, right? And so in certain areas, they redistrict and they say, okay, well, this is your congressional district, which is now they're making them red and they're making them blue and they're making them so they have seats in the House so they can vote. And I don't know that it's correct. But let's just talk about our guy, Mamdani, who I think got his surge from the very community that he's from. So Mamdani is from Uganda, and he's a West Indian, considered a West Indian here in New York. And he's an Indian man, and his family is very affluent. And, you know, his parents are tenured professors and things of that nature. So they're talking about how he's living an affluent life and now wants to go and take everybody else's money and spend it on people. But I want to say that this used to be a hip hop artist. Do you know he used to be a hip hop artist, cousin Mamdani?
Never heard of him.
Yeah, the new mayor elect, Mamdani. He
Yeah,
used to be a hip hop artist, and he was in the clubs the night before the re-election, and we're going to show you a video of that. But he was in the clubs, you know, giving it up, and a lot of the West Indians supported him and they believe in him. And sometimes we have to, you know, they say this is going to be his first job as the mayor. His first job is going to read mayor. He's been the assemblyman for, I believe, a couple years in Queens, and he got that during COVID, and now he is our mayor. So lastly,
so crazy. It's the guy was standing here. He from the Queensboro. He used to work with us at Violator.
Who's that?
The bald head guy, Derek. I mean, yeah.
Donovan Richardson.
Donovan Mitchell. Yeah, he used to work with us at Violator. Yeah.
Okay.
He's a Violator member. Yeah.
Okay, that's shout out to Donovan Richards, the borough president of Queens.
Yes.
I was wondering, he bring a lot of, you know, swag to the Queens.
Yeah, that's Violator. That's that Violator. You know what I mean? Shout out to V. Yeah.
Shout out to Donovan. So now tariffs. Tariffs, okay? So now, you know, President Trump is going around the world to all these other countries, and he's saying, listen, if you don't give us this amount of tariff, then you can't do business in our country. Now, I believe that this is a good thing, because when we go to other countries, we don't see American products in other countries. And the reason why we don't see them is because if we want to do business in other countries, we've got to pay high taxes to get our stuff over there.
It's it's America.
Yeah, well, I'm saying when we go into their country, we have to pay high taxes to do business over there. So Trump said, you know what? I'm sick of paying to do business in your country, and you're not paying to do business in my country. And so he started instituting the tariffs, and the tariffs seemingly have been working. He's saying that he's been getting millions upon billions of dollars from these tariffs. I don't know. I haven't seen the trickle down yet.
Trump. Check his bank account. That's a G check.
Check the sons. It's the sons you got to check on.
Yeah.
So now the Supreme Court is actually hearing. They're actually going to hear whether or not, and argue against whether or not Trump should be able to put tariffs on other countries. Now, this is a G check, cousin. So they're saying, no, Trump, you can't go over there and give them 100% rise on their taxes. Cousin, what do you think about that? Is this something that they should be doing? Should they be telling the president, don't tell other countries to pay us big money to come here and do business? Or should they leave him alone and let him negotiate so we get our way?
But let me. This is a G check. We ain't gonna never get our way because it ain't for us. So that's the biggest G check
I'm
in the
talking about
world.
America.
It don't matter. We not getting nothing of it. So that's my G check.
Should Trump be able to go to other countries and add a tariff and the amount of tariff that he wants? They're saying that he might need to settle down and you might be able to only put a 10 or 25% tariff, but you can't give somebody 100% tariff. That's what they're going to court for now.
So this is a G check once again. What is we seeing out of it? You get where I'm coming from?
Well, he's trying to say that we're going to get this trickle down. He's trying to say, listen, if I can get money instead of taxing you in America, this is Trump's thought. If instead of taxing us in America, instead of taxing us, I'm going to tax them, which makes sense. And that's what I want him to do. And
Okay,
so
yeah.
he's saying eliminate the property taxes here in New York. So instead of having to pay high taxes for this and high taxes for that, let them pay it. That's what he's saying.
Yeah. But
And
I'm
let the
saying
American
is,
people
if
keep their
if
money.
if that is true, because you gotta remember, politics, y'all do a lot of talking. Y'all do a lot of talking. Y'all do a lot of microphone check 1, 2. What is this? Y'all do a lot of that. So if it's official, I go with it. That's a G check. But if it's not, it's once again a G checking a G. That's all
But
it
if they're
is.
not, but here's the thing, if they're not allowing him, right? If the Supreme Court now says you can't use that. You can't use tariffs on other countries, and we're going to monitor how you use your tariffs. And he's going out there to get us money. I believe that America doesn't want to see us with money. I believe that Trump wants to see Americans with big money to make big money. I believe that. I truly believe that.
But
But
Trump is on his New York ish right now. So, I respect that. He went to Washington on his New York bully thing. So I respect that. But at the end of the day, personally, this is a G check. I don't check, no talk. Dude, show people. You ain't got to keep
he's
talking
doing
about
it.
it.
He's
Okay, well,
doing it. And
did
now
you
they're
see it?
telling him, yeah, we know that these other countries are getting taxed. We know that. He's doing that. So now, as he's doing it and as he's making the money, they're saying, no, 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 no. You can't tax them like that for
Because
some
guess
reason.
what?
If
Guess
this is going
what?
to help the American people, why should they get in the way?
But guess what? Because they getting in the way because once again, politics, greedy. They might be getting an undercover playing golf. They got in their golf car.
Good
When they
one.
go back, they lift their seats up. They got millions in there. So it's a lot of game
Yes.
where we sit back and don't think that this is what's going on. But you gotta remember, there's a lot of game going on, and there's a lot of rock the babies to sleep. You know what I mean? They keep rocking us to sleep with some stale milk.
Well, we're
That's a
about to
G
close
check.
out. So, lastly, now, what Trump wants to do is he wants to open up the government, and by open up the government, the only way that the Republicans are going to open up the government without the Democrats is a filibuster. Now, a filibuster is when you go ahead that when people are holding the government hostage, that they have a filibuster that they can come in and bust them down and say, you can't do what you're doing. Now, Trump wants to get rid of that, right? But the Democrats, well, the other Republicans are saying, no, we can't get rid of that because if we do that to them, they're going to do it to us. And I think that our whole government right now is in disarray because this is a tit for tat government. And I don't like that. I don't like the fact that we're willing to hold the American people up with SNAP benefits. We're willing to hold the American people up with whatever so we can get our point across, so we can get somebody elected. And then the American people themselves have to suffer for your work when we put you in the office and we pay your salary. We pay you to do what we want you to do. And so you need to do that. And that is a pure G check.
G check this, cuz. G check this, cuz. They all greedy. So at the end of the day, as long as they keep getting fed, they're gonna keep doing what they're doing, So we just got to figure out how can they feed us.
Well, that's the big thing. And I totally agree. And that is a G check. And that is our show for this week, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it today. We look forward to seeing you next week on the New American Perspective and your G check. And we will be having our own shows, the New American Perspective and the G check. So we will be expanding our base and expanding our conversation. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Shout out to Diddy.